astonishing defense from the Houston Outlaws.
Honestly, this is just a fantastic read from the Shock.
Jake with the kill. There it is.
Oh, Baby Bay on fire.
Elixir pops off right there.
And Dante with his own blade. Now Shock coming in with the kills.
This is unbelievable. Houston turning it around. That is fine work indeed.
It's hump day, and we're ending on a highlight. You guys ready to go? Blizzard Arena, make some noise. It is time for match number 3 here in week 4. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Puckett. We've got Zoe back at the desk, and already it's been a good day.
Yeah, it definitely has been a good day, and it can still get better as we have that one last match to go.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just joining us, here is a look at everything that went down earlier today. Of course, we started off with a 4-0. We thought this would be an incredibly close series between our 2 4-2 matches. Unfortunately, for the Philadelphia Fusion, it was a 4-0 from the Valiant, who now goes up to 5-2. The Mayhem just crumbled underneath the pressure of the Los Angeles Gladiators, and now we'll see. Will Houston be able to tie it up with the Valiant, or will it be the San Francisco Shock tying the Gladiators at 3 and 4? You guys ready for this match? Let's make some noise right now as we bring out our 5th team of the day. Give it up for the Houston Outlaws. Houston comes into this match with a 4-2 record, and they opened the season with back-to-back losses. But since then, they've won 4 straight matches and are currently on a perfect 16-match streak.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic from the Houston Outlaws. And although they had some issues earlier on in the season, now they definitely look like a team that can make the Stage 1 playoff push. They have an outside chance of sneaking in, but it's not even that outside a chance. If they play well, they can overtake some of the top 3 teams and make their way into the Stage 1 playoffs. So far, their execution has been pretty clinical, but they still got Seoul to play later this week, so we'll not get too far ahead of ourselves, but they have looked really good.
Yeah, you make an excellent point there, Sideshow. In general, Houston have been very lucky in terms of the teams that they're playing against. It's been generally the weaker teams, not to take anything away from these guys, because they're all capable players. Raucus, give me a quick little kiss. We've got something going on, I'm not going to lie. But let's looking at these teams, Houston have got a lot of tough matches coming up ahead.
Zoe, there's one big change in the starting lineup. It's that man second from the left.
Yeah, we're going to have Clockwork subbing in for Linkser. He is not feeling well and is currently at home. So let's see if Clockwork can fill those shoes, as he has been a key factor for their recent wins.
Linkser, we'll be sending you some chicken soup. We know you're watching this series. It's time to introduce your opponent, though. Please put your hands together and welcome to the stage, the San Francisco Shock. The Shock was one of those surprise squads, and talking with Super, a player who's not in the active lineup yet, he will be as soon as he turns 18. He said Sleepy, the man to watch today. He is the X factor for this squad, and currently this is the team coming off a 1-3 loss to London, and they got beat by Dallas 3-0.
Yeah, they lost, but it did show signs of life and moments of brilliance. They won Oasis 2-1 against the London Spitfire, and their game 1 against Dallas Fuel ended up in a draw on Eichenwald. And I have to say that their initial attack round was rather perfect. They got the first point like really quickly on the back of Dante and Baby Bay, who really worked as this 1-2 combination punch, and they just completely rolled over the Dallas Fuel.
Sideshow, what do you think has been the biggest issue for the Shock? Because their record isn't great coming into week 4.
Yeah, that's true. And I think in general, they have a passive play style, and so did Dallas, and that's why they were able to have such a close game, I think. But for the San Francisco Shock, in general, all of their games are marred by this indecision. They feel like they're not decisive, they don't take the initiative in fights. And if they just committed to it wholesale, I think they'd have much more success.
Brian, let's talk about this matchup here and the impact that we're going to see on the season. Starting with the maps here, who has the edge coming into this one?
So I would honestly give it to Houston Outlaws in a lot of ways, but now we're seeing a few changes in the team lineup, something that's not what we haven't really been used to too much, with Clockwork coming in as well. Numbani in particular is a map that I want to look at. It's the first map we're going to be seeing, and Houston, in their big streak of wins, this has actually been their weakest map. Even though they've got a 75% win rate, this is the one that they struggle the most at, and they do get taken right down to the end, right down to the wire generally.
Zoe, Linkser's out today, so what are the keys to victory if Houston wants to tie Valiant at 5-2?
Well, I think with Linkster out of this roster for today, Jake has to lead the way. He has to make those big plays, which we saw from Linkster previously. They also have to make sure that they don't get cocky. You know, don't look too far ahead. They have another big match coming in this week, and I hope they are very well prepared against the Shock still. And they have to control the tempo. They can't let Shock dominate the tempo and make it a slow game. They have to play quick. They have to play aggressive.
Sideshow, what are the keys to success on the other side? If we want to see the San Francisco Shock tie the Gladiators at 3-4, how do they walk away with the victory?
Well, they got a fairly decent chance here as well. I think their keys to victory are to focus down the tanks. So if they play some styles like a double hit scan and focus down Muma when he comes in, they're going to have success. They also need to be decisive. If you have a plan, go for it. Have confidence in yourselves, and of course, have confidence in Baby Bay. Because with one of the stars down on the other side, on Houston Outlaws, Baby Bay should have a lot more freedom, a lot more space to be able to show that he is up to that level as well and can carry his team.
You've been 2-2 on predictions today. I'm making you kick this one off. Who are you going with for our final match?
I would have said it was Houston Outlaws fairly convincingly. Having said that, now that Lynx is out of the lineup, I think this could be way, way closer. So I think I'm still going to give it to Houston, but Clockwork really has to step up. He's got the talent, but as yet hasn't shown it as much.
Bren?
Hey, am I allowed to give a cop-out answer? I mean,
No.
everyone else
I got a new
should be doing
question
it.
for you. They are
Okay.
16 map wins in a row. How many does Houston finish on this streak?
3.
They're already at 16.
More.
That's
now,
not possible.
how much they
That's
end
a
this
math.
streak?
Math is hard.
Listen, it's been a long day. I apologize, but I'm going to go with how many did they end on this streak? Listen, move to Zoe. Go to Zoe.
I'll do it
Same
for you.
question,
You
are you
said
sure?
3. That'll be 19-0, Fred. All right, go ahead,
math.
Zoe. What do you got?
Quick maths.
Well, good job.
All right, predictions,
Yeah,
Zoe?
Houston Outlaws is going to take it, but I do think, given that we have Clockwork, it might be a bit closer than it should have been.
All right, we are going to go take a nap before this first game kicks off. We need it here at the desk, but our players are ready to go. Let's set it backstage one more time. It's Monty with Doa.
Thanks, Puckett. We'll have some comfy Winston pillows delivered to you post-haste.
Yeah, that's right. Sounds like they really need some out there.
I know.
That was a
That's,
very confusing predictions.
There's this, I don't even know what
I don't even
happened there.
know
I mean,
who predicted what.
two teams are, we're going to see Houston versus San Francisco, but I have no idea what the desk is expecting out of this one. I don't know, guys. We're just going to have to wait and find out. Nibani's going to be our first map. Anubis, Oasis, Dorado will be the maps to follow as we get things started here. Houston coming this one hot, man. 16-0. In their last 4 matches, map-wise. I mean, yeah, their opponents weren't maybe the strongest teams in the league, but that's still respectable.
It is definitely respectable, and you have to pick
Yeah.
up those clean series in order to get the big margins when it comes to map wins and map differential.
That's right.
That can put you over the top if you are tied in match score. But we're seeing a Houston Outlaws without their best player. I think there's no doubt that Linkster has been the best player on this roster. He's not going to be in today because he is sick. Also, Mendo Kusai is another backup DPS player who is currently waiting to get his wisdom teeth removed. So their
Ouch.
options
Oh, man.
were very limited for the match this evening, and that means we will see Clockwork come in, who definitely has his work cut out for him.
Well, someone a little bit ago was like, Doa, Linkster's sick. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? He's awesome. They're like, no, he's actually sick.
Physically
like,
ill.
Oh, man.
What
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer.
But hey.
Especially since Houston is legitimately challenging for a stage 1 playoff seed right now. They need
Seriously.
to come away with a win tonight, and
Well, hey, this is where your subs need to stand up, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, this is why you have subs on your roster. So when situations like this occur, you can still get the win. And it's on Clockwork. I think he had a pretty good showing in the preseason, honestly. And so we'll see what he can do here.
yeah, so Houston Outlaws is going to do a Numbani attack that we've seen from them last week, which is a triple DPS look that will have Raucous on the Soldier 76. The idea here is to poke with the Pharah and the Soldier, and then have Clockwork on the Tracer finish off a tank who's trying to choke out the main road. You basically bait them down there. They executed it very well for a quick cap last week, and we'll see if Clockwork can get the long flank that we saw Linkster achieve.
We will find out. I'm excited to see Clockwork play again. I mean, this guy has such a history in FPS in general, and it's cool to see him on the stage.
Absolutely is. So Pope coming in. Clockwork is actually going with the rest of his team, not going for the flank. They're going to
Oh,
go
there we
right
go.
back onto Baby Bay.
Yeah, the dive is real cool, Matt. Almost really D-mech there, but he gets back onto the point. Oh, gets D-mech'd anyway. That could be a rough start. Bounty does go down. Houston Outlaws losing their Mercy and their Diva suit in the early seconds. Jake getting in there, getting aggressive. Goes for an aggressive kill on the Dak, but can't quite do it. So they clean up the push quickly. San Francisco shock holds, and Houston gets to reset.
Yeah, that was San Francisco knows the strategy that's going to come in from the side of the Outlaws.
It's handled well.
Yeah, they showed it previously, so they're not surprised by a pullback towards their support, so they're not going to get poked and picked off by the Tracer. And the Outlaws going to continue to roll with this for the time being. They're still just coming through the main streets. It's exactly the same tactic as before.
Well, here we go. Rocket sneaking around the side, wants to be cautious here. Nomi in the thick of it, getting very, very low. There's a kill for Raucus. Getting rid of the Winston is big, but they lost Muma as well. Both Winstons out of commission for the moment. And Cool Matt demeched again, this time by Dante's Pulse Bomb. Raucus has to take a little bit of a break because he doesn't want to get killed off by Babybay's Tactical Visor. And again, a strong hold, but crucially this time, 2 big ultimates used by San Francisco.
Yeah, tactical attack visor used by San Francisco from Baby Bay to go ahead and clean up the point here. Houston still working their way up towards their own attack visor and the Valkyrie. And they will be able to continue to eco push into the point. Dante wants to get a flank off here and see if he can take out one of the supports early.
You'd think this would probably, this or the next one, be the one they really go for here. We'll find out. Baby Bay, of course, up on that high ground opposite side now, trying to fight it out with Clockwork, who has that Pulse Bomb available. Tac Visor comes in from Raucus, and Baby Bay escaping from the fray for the moment. Nevic's taken out by Raucus after he pops that self-destruct, and maybe the Transcendence from Sleepy will be enough to keep them in this one. Cool Matt demeched yet again. He's gonna pop his own ultimate here. Meanwhile, Fanny floating above everything else, and the kills coming in for Houston Outlaws right now. Baby Bay goes down again, and that should be it. Yes, the payload will start floating towards its destination.
Yeah, definitely good to wait there until they got the Valkyrie up and then make the strong push into the point. The Valk is the big difference.
Yep.
That'll mean the Outlaws start to push this payload. They got it on their first push with this composition last time. Not so lucky this time. Raucus has to switch over to the Zenyatta now as they head towards a more standard composition.
Yep, pretty normal stuff here. Clockwork, meanwhile, sneaking on the outside. He was waiting for Dante there. And performing okay so far on this Tracer, doing just fine. And his sub roll here on the Outlaws. Cool Matt charging ahead, just trying to create some space for that payload to keep moving. Nice heals on Raucus to keep him up here. Pulse Bomb comes in. Cool Matt does get demeched, so they're without the Diva suit for a little while here. Ooh, Muma really low on the other side. They get the kill onto Nomi, I meant. And that's a Winston out of commission now for San Francisco. Could be a problem. They're going to dive in. Banny does go down.
Yeah, that's the Valkyrie's going to trigger the attack here as they bring Muma back up with the resurrection.
Okay.
Some decent movement on the payload from the side of the Outlaws.
Yeah. Do you think it was worth it using the resurrection? Do you think that was efficient enough from San Francisco?
I would have not have used the Valkyrie there, so I think that they could have probably held that for just a little bit longer.
I mean, one thing we have seen from Dak this season is that he is pretty quick on the trigger as far as the Mercy ultimate goes.
He does have an itchy trigger finger when it comes to Valkyrie. I definitely agree with you.
Itchy Q finger.
That is the Mercy trigger.
That's true. But what triggers the Mercy? That's the question.
I think we know what
I think we do know now. We've recently found out. They're going to try to keep pushing here. Cool Matt demeched yet again. And Jake pops out the Tac Visor, going to the little room. He tries to contain them, but not quite working out. So they do create a little bit of space for the payload. Oh, but now the counter dive coming in for a moment from San Francisco. A couple kills, but now the Transcendence from Raucus keeps him in the game. Jake getting that healing. They need to keep him up, though. Trying to fire away Baby Bay, Soldier v Soldier. Finally, Jake takes a break in the room. Baby Bay in a little bit of trouble, getting low. And Cool Matt, they're not going to go for it. Okay, yeah, they lost too many.
Wow, that was a huge investment from the Outlaws as well. Transcendence and their Valkyrie, and they can't win the actual fight on the payload. San Francisco stalling this out beautifully in the street space.
Well, we're actually seeing a great hold from San Francisco, yeah.
Well, even though, Dahl, we have seen the Houston Outlaws win 3 out of 4 maps here on Numbani, last week it wasn't pretty. They only gave up 4 points out of all 8 maps last week, and all 4 were on Numbani. So this has been their weakest map recently.
Baby Bay down. Raucus finds a great couple orbs to the dome. Nevix on the run, nearly demeched, turns around for some shots on the Muma. Cool Matt once again, nearly demeched. He is demeched yet again, and Nevix gonna throw out his self-destruct. Any kills from that one? No, not quite. Muma jumps in. They've got San Francisco pushed back to the edge of the cliff there, but Nomi trying to get back into it with the Primal Rage. Got the kill on Bonnie. San Francisco looks like they will continue to hold, and now less than a minute remains for Houston Outlaws and their attack run.
Nomi gonna die at the end of this fight as he pushes them back into spawn. We'll have some chance to respawn here, but there will be a power play coming through from the Houston Outlaws. They will be able to exploit this. Dante's creeping around the backside right now, looking for a target.
Yeah. And Jake has it. Dante with the pulse bomb. Everybody's hiding right now for Jake's attack visor. Dak did go down early. Jake brought back up again by Bonnie. So an opportunity for Outlaws to push this one forward here. They're using their support ultimates to do it. They got to make some progress, man. 20 seconds. It is do or die for this push.
Looks like they are going to. All the members on the payload falling, so they will cap point B. And a lot of that from the Shock's perspective was the fact that Nomi overextended and died towards the spawn. It took him longer to get back there, gave the Outlaws an opportunity for a 5 versus 6 power play on the payload. They have to burn both their support ults to do it, but that is worth it.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that just happens. You hold for so long, you get a little bit overeager at the very end, and that's when so many teams will take that point. You see it in the Overwatch League, and you see it in your own games on the ladder, too.
Yeah, Clockwork did a good job in this last fight trying to take out Dak with the pulse bomb. He's looking for another opportunity right now. Dante going to start zoning him off back towards his team.
Yep. And Clockwork nearly has that pulse bomb again, and San Francisco kind of grouped up a little bit here. Now getting a bit more separated due to the Primal Rage. Oh, and Baby Bay has a Helix rocket ready for Clockwork. Ooh, that one hurt.
Baby Bay's been performing exceptionally well in this game. A lot of poke onto the frontline tanks. He's dealing 30% of his team's damage right now. That's certainly on the high end for a DPS player.
No kidding. If they can just demech Nevix, or Nevix rather. Oh, he tries to go for the attack visor. That was very optimistic from Jake. I don't know about that one. They're going to go in with the Transcendence after the res comes through. Can they push back San Francisco again? We're down to about 25 seconds left. It's another do or die push for Houston Outlaws. Nomi does go down, but the res comes through immediately afterwards. So they got to keep pushing.
Well, not going to try for the self-destruct, but it's not going to pick up any kills. And this is desperation time for the Outlaws. This is their last push.
Dak seems to be kind of zoned out from everybody here. Baby Bay trying to get back into the action, and he can't quite do it. Clockwork does go down, though. Jake manages to dodge some shots, and now he's got to get out of the way. Oh, he gets the kill onto Dante. Dak falls as well. Houston may actually have a fight here.
Baby Bay's going to switch on with the Genji actually just to get back to the payload a little bit faster. Nomi is waiting in the wings. He's waiting right until the last second. You see him crouching on the side. Here he comes.
There he goes. He comes in right now. No health, though. Not going to last long, but it's enough time for everybody to come back. Now Jake, he's got the attack visor. This could be the ability that gets the payload all the way through. Lots of damage done with that Transcendence. They should have this one locked down. That Diva is tough to dislodge, though. There we go. That should do it now. And Houston Outlaws will manage to finish Nimbani in overtime.
That was very clutch from Houston to close that map, and they come alive at the last possible second.
That's right, and we've got some sounds of the game to check out. Some good communication from Houston back at point A. Let's check it out.
Big visor. Soldier low, backing up. I'm holding them. Diva bomb coming. I'm running. Baby dead. Side touch. Bucket up primal, bucket up primal. I need help on point. I got bucket. Two resis still. I got one. Let's chase one, Diva. Bucket still one. Chase it. Mercy. Nice. Mercy one, dead. Kill soldier. Pressing Muma. Do I stay or is that? I'm not.
And there you go. Just crisp communication, letting people know what you're doing. I mean, hey, you could take that and do it in your ladder games. I mean, when silence means losing.
Silence is the Overwatch killer, though.
That's right.
Remember that.
Silence is your SR killer.
It's the SR killer. Wow. And most of that communication, actually, that you guys heard, if you're not familiar with these players' voices, was Raucus calling targets, and he was the one talking very fast, but clearly getting the target selection in there and making sure people know which players were low. So a lot of the comms dominated in that team fight by a support player.
That's right. And now we flip sides. So San Francisco Shock with an opportunity to try to equalize with 3 points of their own in their attack run here on Nimbani. And if Houston Outlaws can stop them, they'll just win the map straight up. Otherwise, we're going to time bank.
Yep, and we'll be going with Pharah Tracer, classic combination. I'm curious to see if Clockwork's going to play anything except Tracer today.
I do wonder, yeah. I mean, in the past, like the long past, we've seen him play plenty of McCree, other hit scan, but lately it has been mostly Tracer.
Yeah, and especially because the Outlaws tended last week to play a very interesting combination of Widow and Junkrat, which I don't think is ideal for Numbani on defense. So they are making some adjustments at the very least. Raucus, of course, playing that Ana while he can, and as you say, adjustments coming through. They saw the Pharah and decided that they were going to take a different approach.
Yeah, going for some hit scan from Baby Bay over on that Soldier 76 now. Trying to shoot that Ana out, or the Pharah rather, out of the air.
Going to be a pretty straightforward attack, but trying to isolate the tanks on the side, and that will be Dante surprisingly taken out by Jake.
Yeah, Jake's been pretty good as far as rocket accuracy goes. Some questionable ultimates, but he's certainly been able to put most of the damage where he should on that Pharah.
I have to say, I think that was a very optimistic high ground dive by the San Francisco attack. When you're not running the Genji, you don't necessarily have enough people to get up onto that high ground quickly, and you're not going to get the line of sight for the soldier who's going to be dealing most of your damage onto the tanks that were up there.
Very true.
Hello, that's a nice pickoff.
You know, I think Baby Bay's Helix Rocket connected there too, and that helped Dante finish him off. Nice.
Definitely did.
Nice combo of damage there from the 2 DPS. And they're going to get some real progress on this control meter here, especially with that attack visor. Yeah, trying to hunt down
boost on the Muma, though.
Gotta run away. Yeah, that Winston is a scary prospect to fight against. Baby Bay thrown back yet again. Primal Rage coming in. Oh, but Muma, with his own Primal Rage, takes out the remaining members of San Francisco. And so Houston Outlaws will continue to hold.
And talking about Muma, he's a player that since the first week, so the last couple of weeks we've had in the Overwatch League, has come into his own, particularly when he's ulting. He was pretty bad in terms of Primal Rage statistics when we saw him in his first week. That was when the Outlaws were in a lot of turmoil. And we'll talk about that.
Oh boy! Wow, he goes for the barrage, gets Baby Bay, but gets taken out himself. Not sure if that was worth it as Baby Bay comes right back up again. Dak with that Valkyrie, trying to keep his team in this push. They're not giving up yet. And Clockwork down, there goes Muma. I think a little bit of an over-eager attack here from Outlaws may have cost him this point.
Yeah, that was still the Valkyrie advantage coming through, though. With Dak having that ability and able to use it first to bring some of that pressure on. Dante doing a little bit of harassment forward there, making sure that there's not going to be too much space gained by the Houston Outlaws.
I don't know about that barrage from Jake, though. I mean, again, it seemed he really was expecting maybe a little bit more than he could realistically get out of it.
All right, Nano Boost coming in.
Goodbye, Dante.
It was actually used on Fanny.
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I like that, but I don't know if it's a good idea.
So what was supposed to happen there was it was supposed to go onto Muma, and Fanny body blocked the Nano Boost, and now here we are.
Yep, here's San Francisco crushing that fight. You know, I mean, yeah, Mercy right now, she's like, I need, buff me, please.
I was actually curious, like, how far they were going to roll with that.
I don't know.
Fanny was going to
try
and battle
man.
Mercy at
Just go for it.
But that's something we used to see, of course, when we saw a lot more Ana Lucio combination. Sometimes the Lucio just leaps in front of the Ana, and you get the Boostio.
Yeah, the Boostio comes in, you know.
That time it was a Boosty.
You know, Guardian Angel can put Mercy in an awkward spot once in a while. Self-destruct coming in now for Cool Matt. No kills out of that one, though, except his own death. And they're still trying to push this payload here. They nearly got it through to the end of point B. Nomi jumping in. Muma does go down. Looks like San Francisco should be able to finish this one off. And the momentum really rolling. Bounty the last to fall. And once again, he's like, man, if I only had a Nano Boost.
Well, see, the problem, Noah, is that after the Nano Boost went wrong, the Outlaws doubled down on that commitment, and Banny ended up using his Valkyrie in what was basically a lost engagement anyway.
Yeah.
So now they reset their own ult economy, and now San Francisco Shock have a very good chance to take some time on these maps. Those kind of mistakes, if you all in afterwards, can become even more costly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Not characteristic of them, I would say. Bonnie caught by the self-destruct, actually, so Houston Outlaws already losing their Mercy early again in San Francisco. Man, they are crushing this attack round now.
Yeah, Banny's coming back up on another Valk, but Dak already sitting on his. Gonna have to be a really good defense from Houston. They've got a long time to drain off this payload clock.
Well, you know, Dante's just waiting for a chance to do that pulse bomb. He just did. Didn't get any kills out of it, though. Now attack visor coming in for Jake, trying to push San Francisco back once more. Nomi does fall, so Outlaws may be able to hold this here.
Dak gonna actually pop the Valkyrie a little bit later too. Muma's gonna get revived.
Oh, there we go. Sleepy gets caught by the self-destruct though. That's gonna be a bit of an issue. No, it's not. Dak reses him. Never mind. Nevix does get demeched, but it's just not gonna be enough. Looks like San Francisco will have to back off a little bit here.
Sleepy gets revived, but he doesn't have a Transcendence, so they can't push through on the rest of the engagement. So for now, the Houston Outlaws will be holding.
He's in a rough spot when he comes back anyway, so it doesn't last too long. Regrouping from San Francisco now. They are going to probably have that Transcendence pretty quick in the next fight.
Dante should try and bait out the Transcendence if he can by using his Pulse Bomb and force them to try and deal with this early. He's going to get scared by some Zenyatta right clicks coming around the corner.
I'd be scared too. A little bit of help taken by Dante here. Has to about Muma. Sticks him, doesn't do enough damage though with that Primal Rage to take him down. Now Baby Bay with attack visor, firing into the Transcendence though, so that damage is just gonna get healed up right away and Baby Bay goes down. Nevix coming in, back in the mech now. Jake did get the kill on the Dante too, so Houston Outlaws continues to just grind away at San Francisco Shock, and that's gonna be another push repelled, and now we're at about 1:35 left for San Francisco. Things are getting a little bit crazy.
Yeah, they are, and nothing about that went San Francisco's way. They wanted to bait out the Transcendence with the Pulse Bomb. Their angle was cut off for Dante. They come in and they use their own Trance, but Sleepy is not next to the ulting Baby Bay. So Baby Bay gets focused and died when he's not getting healed.
That's right.
And that makes the Transcendence effectively useless as they have to push back and go head towards their own spawn. So Houston doing a great job of holding on. Jake is going to be looking for a chance to use that tack visor. Dak has to be very careful.
Well, Fanny is cautious too. I mean, they've got that Valkyrie. They can hold for sure. Sleepy goes down again. Muma with the kill early on. They haven't needed the Mercy Ult yet. Jake trying to find some kills. Can't quite finish off Nomi. It was close though. They forced out the Primal Rage. And it looks like San Francisco is going to push that payload forward. Can they finish it before overtime though? That's the question.
And you're going to bring Muma back up here, so still a lot for the Houston Outlaws to work with. They're staying on the payload and they're getting the kills. Baby Bay will be the last resurrection for San Francisco.
Wow, they may actually have this one now. Bandy goes ahead, pops the Valkyrie, gets low health, has to back away, brings Coolmat up again. Coolmat healthy, he's on the payload. Here comes a Transcendence. Raucus racing out with that one, self-destruct onto Nevix, but he gets out just in time with that self-destruct. Ooh, that was very close.
He got out with the self-destruct, but because the Pulse Bomb was stuck to his mech, he actually dies, so he doesn't have a chance to remech at all.
That is going to be rough. Muma res after he goes down again. Sleepy gets the kill on the Coolmat. So San Francisco getting a few kills, but is it enough? Jake with that attack visor tries to say no. He's trying, but he's facing the two tanks. He has to run. Baby Bay down in the meantime, and we're into overtime. Banny's still up for the moment.
I mean, the respawns are coming in so quickly right now. Muma back on the payload. It's all the members of the Houston Outlaws, and they're still waiting for Baby Bay to rejoin.
Wow.
If he can get there with a tactical visor, maybe they can do something.
It might be enough. They got to get rid of the Diva, though, if they're going to do that. And the kills come in. They are doing that. They did demech Nevix, and so it might work out. We will see. Oh, Jake falls again, though. He's back up, but he lost that, or still doesn't have that tack visor, rather. Now Doc with that Valkyrie trying to keep San Francisco in this one. OT getting closer and closer to finishing off. Coolmat nearly demeched by the Pulse Bomb, but he stays alive. Another Transcendence coming on. This fight on the payload is just crazy, but Houston Outlaws seem to be coming on top. They will, and the Houston Outlaws will be able to take Nimbani.
Wow, they held surprisingly. So Houston comes in on Nimbani, a map that they've given up a lot of ground on in the past couple of weeks, but they still hold strong.
Well, that one was rough, but they keep the map win streak alive, and they will jump out to an early lead here against San Francisco. 1-0 for the Houston Outlaws. And again, a win here would put them well into playoff contention.
Yeah, they basically have to win.
That's right. We'll see if they can keep it up. Map 2 coming up in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Cool Matt, Houston Outlaws, off tank. Indiana, there's really not much besides corn, and if you don't like corn, then there's video games.
There's one of the best divas on the planet, and Cool Matt.
I figured, like, what would a little kid make their first gamer tag, and so I thought that would be perfect for me.
His hair defies gravity, by the way. It's phenomenal. How does it do that?
Favorite hero is Diva. You can choose to be really aggressive, really defensive. All of your abilities are super impactful.
Matt drops a bomb over top and takes down 2.
I think our rival is probably Dallas Fuel. We both come from the same state, and we want to be like the top contender for that state. Throughout the season, I think we're going to see a narrative form between the two of us.
You guys ready for the Battle of Texas?
Personal goals, I want to keep growing as a player, and our team goal is only to win.
Well, with hopes as high as Cool Matt's hair, Houston has jumped out to a 1-0 lead here over San Francisco, and that one was a little bit messy, but they got the win anyway.
They did.
That's something.
They did. They struggled a little bit. The nano boosting of the Mercy was
yeah, it was awesome.
It was.
I think
it was
means
awesome.
It was
they,
awesome.
They
That's
won,
right.
They won anyway, even though they doubled down on their mistake, and I got scared for a minute. And to be fair, Numbani hasn't been their best map, but this is going to be a little bit harder, I think, for Outlaws regardless tonight, even considering the fact that they don't have Linkser.
Yeah.
Because their best maps have been Horizon and Junkertown by a pretty large margin, and neither of those maps are here. And if you are a San Francisco Shock fan, you should be looking at the second half of this. You should be looking at Oasis. You should be looking at Dorado, because these have been the Shock's best maps. So this is definitely still going to be a winnable match for the Shock.
So you're saying expect the reverse sweep. Is that what you're telling us? Is that
That's
what you're
right.
telling the crowd?
That's right. Expect if there is going to be a 2-0 upswing here for the Houston Outlaws, do not despair.
Monty has promised us a reverse sweep. You better deliver.
That's definitely what I said.
All right. That's what I heard. You heard it here first. Tweet it out.
Twisting my words as usual, Doa.
If it's on Reddit, it's a fact.
Oh, Lord. That I really hope that's not true.
Well, here we are at the Temple of Anubis. And the Houston Outlaws will be attacking first again. As usual, they are the away team for this match. I suppose technically Texas is farther away from us right now than San Francisco is.
That's by quite a large margin.
Yeah, I know my geography.
I'm so impressed with you right now, Doa.
Thank you. Thank you. Was this the first time?
No.
No, don't answer that. You ask that question.
You make some great jokes. What can I say?
Thank you.
I'm always impressed by your comedic abilities and timing.
It's really my cosplay skills that most people do, I think. Yeah.
You did make a beautiful Mercy. What can I say?
I always knew I would. That's right.
Your blonde beard matched the flowing golden locks perfectly.
My mother is so proud. San Francisco Shock setting up on the lower ground here. We don't see many defenses take the low platform anymore. Probably because we've got Nevix on that Roadhog, so they want to put him in a position to get some more hooks.
Yes, indeed. So they are going to be playing the choke point here with the halt to try and get some Roadhog hooks. That is a pretty big difference compared to the more long-range Orisa Diva compositions that we typically see. Clockwork is going to be on the Widowmaker, so that answers our question, whether we will see him play something besides Tracer, and it will be Jake on the Tracer. He does play the Chaser occasionally, especially when the Linkser is playing Widow. So they are running the same setup here. They're going to try and jump in.
Whoa, that is aggressive, man. Muma going in. Can they capitalize on this? They've already scared Clockwork off the high ground, but they're not done yet. Baby Bay backs off
Dak
for some easier shots, and yeah, Dak falls early. So Houston Outlaws, oh, but there goes Clockwork. Baby Bay winning the duel, and Muma soon to fall afterwards. Outlaws not done quite yet. Maybe they are now, as they have lost Cool Matt and nearly everybody else. That's going to be it, and Baby Bay just takes the Outlaws apart.
Baby Bay got out of dodge onto the back platform as soon as the dive came in.
You see what he was about to do there? He was about to emote, but then I bet Dak looked over at him. And he was like, oh, he got afraid for his life. Yeah, he was this close to emoting.
That's right, maybe we'll see that a little bit later. Jake going to put some pressure on the point right now. Going to try and force somebody to come down there and deal with him. And in the meantime, Dak will die first again. This is disastrous.
No kidding. You can't keep losing Dak like that. If you're San Francisco, Baby Bay can't carry super hard every single fight. Now he's on his own. One tick taken already by the Outlaws, and the Riptire can't turn it around as Clockwork shoots it out of the air.
Vanny going to be dropping in with the Valkyrie as well. Jake revived, Uma revived, and that will be the San Francisco Shock eventually getting ground down on this point. And there's...
that one's going to be tough. Yeah, Nevix falls to the ball spot.
Wow.
Interesting. Houston will grind this one out again. Jack came in for the res, but didn't get a whole lot out of that, and that will be that. Point A taken.
Dak, because he was picked twice, only has 45% charge towards his Valkyrie right now. Meanwhile, Vanny already was able to get the Valk out to help push them to victory on the fight in point A. Meanwhile, Clockwork wants to move over to the Reaper. He knows there's going to be some tank busting that needs to be done here on the point.
Cool. I like the switch. We've seen it be very effective from other teams.
Especially when you have the trance and the Reaper can just sit there firing freely.
Yeah, you can just walk in. Jake over on the Pharah now. As they come in, Sleepy first to fall. San Francisco losing a support early on. Jake sneaking around the back, going for the supercharger, gets it. Going for Dante, gets him. And Outlaws just break that hard point like nothing.
There's still Nevix up on the point, but the ticks are coming in. Sleepy's going to try and make it back there, but he has to play into this Reaper, and that is not an enviable position.
Oh, man. All right, Jake gets taken out. Can they finish it off? Doesn't look like they can quite do it, but that initial defense had all the strength of a Ming base. Not last long.
But fortunately, destroying it doesn't lose the same value, Noah.
Yeah, that's true. You can just set it right back up again.
Jake on his way back over. Vanny popped the Valkyrie a little bit early right there. We'll see if he can get enough resurrections to make it worthwhile. Dak finally has a Valkyrie for the side of the Shock.
Oh, Clockwork taken out early. Cool Matt gets 2 kills, and he brings him back up again. And so Outlaws with an opportunity here after a couple picks from that self-destruct, but Vanny chased down by Nevix. So without the Mercy and without pretty much everybody else, that's going to be another reset for San Francisco. For Outlaws, right?
That was an overcommitment by the Outlaws as well. I think there was a better way to play with the ult economy surrounding that and make a more decisive push later on, but instead, San Francisco Shock will have the opportunity to repel them. Baby Bay is going to be playing on the Genji now. Clockwork nearly at the Death Blossom.
I mean, with that Reaper ultimate, that's something where you can win a fight hard enough with that ultimate to take that last tick. So
yeah,
if they can get a good one here, they've got a great chance. Getting rid of Genji and getting rid of Diva are crucial here. Clockwork uses his Wraith form early to stay alive. Coming back in again. Is he going to go for it? They got the Transcendence. He's going to drop that Death Blossom. Gets Nevix, though. Dodges that self-destruct. Ooh, they nearly got it. But here comes Nomi yet again.
Discordor plus those shotguns are deadly.
That's a lot of damage. And that is it. 2 points for the Houston Outlaws. And so it was a bit of a struggle, but they still finish with 3:35 in the clock. So really good time overall.
Shocker lucky they didn't finish faster, Doa. I think that's the scariest part of that, considering how early Dak was dying in some of these engagements and how crucial Valkyrie is to the professional meta right now. That can turn out to be a real disaster if you are delayed that much in getting your ultimate ability.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I hate to pick on Dak, but that's something we've seen a lot from him this season. Dying early on Mercy, using that res a little bit too early. It's been rough for him.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And you know, part of it, too, is just the teamwork, right? You have to have positioning as a team that cuts off line of sight from the Mercy, whether you're providing barriers or defense matrix, or simply just making it easy for her to heal while not getting shot. So staying within line of sight of her, but not getting in line of sight of the Widow, because we saw Clockwork pick Dak off.
Yeah. Now, we've seen Dak go Lucio on attack on this map earlier in the season. Doesn't look like that's what they're going to do this time. We've actually got Sleepy on the Sombra. And that's going to leave Dak to stay on that Mercy. Interesting. We do see the Sombra attack once in a while. Not quite as common as some of the other strats.
I don't know if they're going to stick with this. I'd be surprised if they did, but
I wonder.
You can snowball very quickly if you get that EMP and can use it right away on point B.
Yeah. Well, if you can sneak the Sombra in there and hack the big health pack, you can kind of set up like sort of a headquarters, you know?
A headquarters.
You know, an attack headquarters.
An attack headquarters.
Little room, yeah.
Either on the mega health pack on the left or the one on the upper right.
Yeah, either one.
As you're depending on your perspective as you come in from the point.
The upper right as the attacker is generally preferable, but let's see what they can get to. And they're going to stick with it. Okay.
Also going to play low ground. This is very unusual for both these teams. Not many are trying to play here in the center of the map right now.
Yeah, again, it's all about those picks. I mean, it's all about what Jake can do with this Junkrat. And we know right now, I would say arguably, this has been Jake's best hero over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it definitely has been. Sleepy is going around the far side, so to Jake's right now.
Here we go.
Packing that mega health back.
Yeah, backs off to the high ground right away. Gets ready. Baby Bay and Nomi going down, though. Good start for Houston. Couple defensive kills, and Dak run over by Cool Matt's Diva Suit, and that'll be the end of that attack almost immediately. That said, Sleepy already 50% of the way to his EMP on that Sombra.
Yeah, he did actually get quite a bit of charge from hacking that pack. Cool Matt went over to try and finish him off.
That
There's also
one too,
the pack out here that we do see hacked, but I don't know how much they're going to spam through that choke point if they know that the Sombra is being played now, and the answer is not a lot.
Well, trying to draw Houston back a little bit as the rest of San Francisco dives that high ground. Cool Matt coming in on the side. Nearly got that ultimate firing into Dak here. Dak falls again. Jake with a couple kills. Gets an Evix out of the Diva Suit too. And
Dante
Cool Matt knew exactly where that Tracer was going to go.
Yeah, Dante's been lurking around on the backside while his team gets wiped. Sleepy still alive, actually, trying to make it back out right now. Will head invisibly through that choke point and rejoin his team members, and this has been a real rough attack so far from the San Francisco Shock.
You know, without Discord on the San Francisco side as well, you know, having the Sombra rather than the Zenyatta, it does make it a little bit easier to be dove because the people that are diving you aren't going to die quite as quick.
Dante actually just used his pulse bomb, and I don't know why.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, a couple kills for San Francisco. Some damage done. Sleepy popped that EMP. Muma brought back up again by Bonnie. Jake still trying to hold this high ground. And we'll see if he can. He's got the Riptire, trying to get into a safe place to use it.
Tactical Visor going to take out Dante. Baby Bay has pulled the blade.
Yep. Easy kill on Nomi. Just a nice safe one there. And that combined with the Tactical Visor, Outlaws using a lot of ultimates here. Even with the Valkyrie coming in from Dak, I don't know if San Francisco's going to be able to take this one. We'll see.
Well, Matt chasing people down will take out one of the DPS members. Dante coming back to the point, but Clockwork sending him right back where he came from. Sleepy is overhead right now. He wants to come around the backside of the point and try and take out somebody, but he's well away from having another EMP right now.
A Clockwork chasing down Dante. It's a brave fight to take, but he's going to win it. Biotic Field doing wonders.
Vanny almost back now.
Yep.
Rejoin his team.
All right, Nomi going in. Muma dies really early. Baby Bay finds that kill. Now Cool Matt versus Nomi. Gets that Primal Rage off just in time, stays alive, and Sleepy going down. Nomi already claiming one with the Primal Rage.
Now this should be it. Finally, it looks like San Francisco Shock have broken this defense with only a minute remaining. They're going to commit the Transcendence here, however. Vanny not close to picking up.
I mean, Nomi goes down. This is just supreme confidence in Jake's abilities, and he's going to go for it. This Riptire could make a big difference.
Doesn't get a Translocator, but he gets Baby Bay, who's reinforcing, and the Houston Outlaws survive.
I mean, talk about faith in your DPS, man. Popping that Transcendence, just saying, all right, Jake, go to work, and he does.
That was bold.
I
agree.
Yep.
But it does work out for them. Sleepy has one more attack remaining. EMP is available. Banny needs to dodge this EMP. He's got the Valkyrie.
Yep. Is crucial. Oh, Clockwork going down early. That is big. San Francisco. Here comes that Dragon Blade. Baby Bay getting the reflex onto Raucus, getting the kill onto Raucus too. And Sleepy goes down. Immediately after popping that EMP, Baby Bay up on the high ground again. Looks like this will be a clean fight for San Francisco finally. Jake brought back up by Bonnie, but even Jake, I don't know if you can carry your way out of this one.
Oh, Banny is hacked right now. As soon as that fight started, Clockwork died to Baby Bay, and we saw Banny use the Valkyrie, fly to resurrect Clockwork, and then as soon as he rejoined the fight, was EMP'd himself. So there was no chance to get a second resurrect off. And that really turned the tide in favor of the San Francisco Shock. So well played around that EMP, but they had to use a lot to get it.
Hey, I mean, props to Houston Outlaws, though. They made San Francisco have to take it in overtime. And it's really unlikely now that San Francisco is going to be able to take this point with any sort of time bank advantage. In fact, I believe it's just impossible at this point.
Yeah, especially with Sleepy and Dak using their ult. Sleepy's going to change over to the Zenyatta now, not wanting to use the Sombra for the attack on B. And now they're going to regroup right outside the temple walls.
Well, they've got some time, but not a ton of time here. Dante versus Clockwork again. Clockwork has to use that recall. They both use theirs, actually. And break it off. Mortal Kombat does not finish this time. It's a bummer. Whoa, Jake steps in. He's like, hey, I'm part of this too. Tagged in.
Some aggressive positioning there.
Yeah.
Won't be punished as he gets the kill, and then Banny will be there to provide the resurrect and the fade away Riptire as Shock retreat back.
The wrath of Jake from beyond the grave there.
Nevix is still alive. He's getting toyed with right now by the members of the Houston Outlaws. They have staggered him extremely badly. Death from above.
I guess so. From the top ropes, it's Jake. Well, it's actually just his concussion.
Wow, that was about a 20-second stagger though.
Yeah, that was pretty devastating. I mean, that's going to slow San Francisco down a lot.
That's the trouble with playing D.Va on Temple of Anubis. There's no way to reset yourself by throwing yourself off the edge. So you are at the mercy as a D.Va player of the enemy. And something you do have to take into consideration when running comps on this map.
Well, Coolmat right there to protect Raucus, but they can't protect him enough from the rest of the dive coming in from San Francisco. The res comes through though, of course. San Francisco with a couple kills, and Coolmat comes up. That's a second res. Banny having to use his Valkyrie. And can they put it to good use here? Looks like they can. So Outlaws will push San Francisco back, but San Francisco going to come into this next one with 5 ultimates.
Yeah, they've got to make the most of this. This is going to be their big push.
Yep.
What you didn't see in that last fight was Jake and Muma zoning out both supports from San Francisco. So even though they had members on the point, they didn't have any healing there, and that's the big cause of the Houston Outlaws winning the fight on the point itself.
I don't think there's too many people in the game right now that are as powerful as Jake on Junkrat on defense. On an assault map. I mean, it is so hard to get past this guy. We've seen what he can do on Lunar Colony. We're seeing it now in Anubis. Up in the air, he's nearly got, he's down. He's got that ultimate when he comes back though. Muma goes ahead and uses that Primal Rage again, zoning Sleepy off, finally taking him down in the end. Raucus taken out too, so San Francisco getting a couple kills, but now the zoning comes in. Nomi dies to Jake's Riptire, and Dak falls to the self-destruct, so San Francisco kind of running on fumes here.
I mean, but Coolmat and Muma are back up. Clockwork going to be respawned. Only Nevix, Dante, and Sleepy alive, and they're getting chased away.
Yep, so Houston Outlaws able to hold this one yet again, and that was it. I mean, San Francisco used everything. To be fair, both teams pretty much used everything, but as the attacker, you're the ones that really need those ultimates to do work for you. They haven't even taken a tick yet.
No, as you say, Doa, they used everything. That was their big opportunity on that push. Banny also going to get his Valkyrie back now, unless they can get the miracle kill onto Banny to start things off. I'm not sure that we're going to see the Shock be able to take this second point.
It's going to be tough. Jake knows where you are at all times, apparently. He's got grenades waiting for you. Trap comes in. Nomi dodges it. Gonna dive in there. Jake trying to protect the back line. Raucus falls early. That's rough. Rez is coming in. There's a nice concussion mine on a Baby Bay. Jake strikes already. Raucus brought back up by Banny. And Clockwork falls.
He dies.
Oh,
Sleepy picks Banny out of the air. That's what they needed.
Yep, that's a couple crucial kills. He got both supports there. We're into OT, but San Francisco with an opportunity. Baby Bay dies yet again. Jake, he has to go to work one more time. He's got the Riptire. Can he finish it off? It's got to be big. This Riptire has got to be devastating for San Francisco. And against Dak, is that enough though? The respawns coming in, and again, the delay was long enough. San Francisco hasn't even taken a tick yet.
Clockwork going to try and drop a pulse bomb right there. Won't find a target, but he stayed alive on this point. He's been great at stalling this out so far. He's been the reason they haven't got those ticks, Toa.
Muma Primal raging his team into a win here on Temple of Anubis, and Houston Outlaws will jump out to a 2-0 lead.
Have to be impressed with this team. That's missing one of their crucial players and has held so tenaciously at the last second on both Numbani and now Temple of Anubis, and they are heading into the halftime up 2-0.
So you're saying that was some pretty tenacious D?
It was the tenacious D for sure, Della.
I agree. There you go. But Jake, again, like, I think Jake on assault map defense is one of the strongest hero map combinations in the game, guys. Crazy stuff. Halftime coming up.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Shout out to all the Outlaws fans down in Texas. Your squad is currently up 2-0 at the half. Welcome back, everybody. It's Puckett here alongside Brent and Sideshow to break down all of the action in our first half. It's match 3 of the day, and so far it's been pretty exciting, but this one seeming to be very heavily in favor of the Houston Outlaws, despite missing arguably their best player, Linkser. Let's jump in here with some of the highlights from Numbani and talk about what we saw early on, because as we open this up, it was San Francisco on the defense. Houston, not the fastest attack.
Yeah, and I think that San Francisco Shock came into this with the game plan, because they were trying to focus down Moomer and Coolmat very heavily. They've got this double hit scan approach where they're allowing Baby Bay and Dante to do a huge amount of damage, and they're trying to get kills on Moomer and Coolmat and push, like, kill the front line before you get to the back. And it was actually a fairly close map between the two of them, but Houston Outlaws had a phenomenal defense at the end.
Yeah, in general as well, looking at the statistics in terms of what you were talking about there, about focusing down the tanks, Dante was using all of his pulse bombs to try and basically bring down his tanks as fast as possible so that Baby Bay could blast down the back lines, you know, just like you said, cancel down the front lines, have an open area to shoot at so that you've got no obstructions, can target the supports in the back.
Sideshow, what effect does not having Linkser have so far on the games?
That's pretty interesting, actually, because they haven't been going with these niche compositions so much, but actually Clockwork's done a good job at filling in for him, I think. On the compositions where Jake's running the Junkrat, Lynx is able to run the Tracer, Clockwork's able to run the Tracer to a pretty good degree. And we've also seen him flex over a little bit. He played the Widowmaker on the start of Anubis A. He had a good performance on Reaper later on. And on Tracer on Numbani specifically, you can see that he was aiming to get really crucial picks. So his pulse bomb percentage attached is fairly similar to Dante's, but slightly higher, but the actual amount of kills he's getting is way bigger with the pulse bomb. So although Dante is focusing down the tanks, that's his game plan with Baby Bay. Clockwork was getting really clutch picks. I mean, he got a pulse bomb on Dak and blew him up just before they had a really pivotal fight, and I think he's actually been delivering in a lot of these crucial pick scenarios. He's coming up clutch.
Bren, you watched a lot of Clockwork in his previous title. What is his greatest strength as a player? Is it accuracy, positioning, game knowledge? How would you describe him?
Mechanical skill, for sure. Like, the raw aim of the guy is actually off the charts, right? He was known back in the day in Team Fortress 2 as one of the best players on a particular role that was very similar to Tracer in terms of his raw aim, how he tracked targets, and he was one of the best. Now, that translates very nicely to this game. However, there's a lot more things to manage. Overwatch is a bit more complicated in that regard, in terms of managing your cooldowns, knowing where to stand at the right times in terms of your positioning. And in that regard, he does lack a little bit to Dante, and that does show in the statistics as well. Like, there is a big difference in the damage dealt and the time they're taking to build up those ultimates.
Now we know with the Houston Outlaws, this is a squad that came into the league with 4 DPS players. So far, it's really just been Jake and Linkser in the starting lineups, but you got Mendo on the bench, Clockwork now being used in the regular season. And I was a bit surprised to see Clockwork in both of our first 2 games. Mendo still not into the live action, but let's talk about what we saw from Houston Outlaws as a whole as we go into Game 2 Anubis.
Yeah, I mean, so he had this key for victory, and it was Jake leads the way on his Junkrat. And so far, it really has been that kind of story. So Clockwork's been the supportive player, doesn't come up big as often as Linkser would have, and they did find it slightly more difficult, I think, to break through some of these entrances, because if you're having a Widow v Widow, and it's Clockwork against Baby Bay's gonna win that one 9 times out of 10, I think. But as you see here, Clockwork on the Reaper, and the fact that overall Houston are able to rely so much on Jake's insane Junkrat plays always gives them that cushion to fall back on, I think, particularly on maps like Anubis.
San Francisco had a really tough time capturing that point A, but on their attack, they were finally able to grab it before being stuffed at the second point. Brent, if you're looking for positives here from the San Francisco Shock in the first half, where are they?
So definitely Dante's general Tracer play. I already made reference to this, the fact that it is on a higher level than the one that Houston is currently putting out. But in general, I feel like if their support play is tightened up a bit more, that could definitely be a huge advantage coming into this, because these games have been close between Houston and San Francisco Shock. So make no mistake, although the scoreline does suggest it, these games could have gone to San Francisco Shock in an alternative universe. So going into the next few games, the support step it up a little bit. Dante keeps performing. We might see a bit of a turnaround.
1 or 2 kills could be a huge impact. And as you saw in that final fight as San Francisco was trying to take point B, Jake knew exactly where Dak was going to be. The call-outs, the communication is there for the Outlaws. Another tire in the Mercy's face. And speaking of Jake, you highlighted it earlier. He was the hero for game number 2.
He really is. As soon as he's able to play this Junkrat, the guy goes wild. It's honestly insane that he's been able to play this hero to such a degree, because we don't really, or prior to this patch, we didn't really think of Junkrat as somebody with big carry potential. But my God, does Jake make it work. And I just chasing them with the tire the whole way down here. San Francisco Shock don't have an answer for it, and it works very well at being able to punish their supports if they're ever out of position, or he just sometimes jumps in and makes crazy plays. So I think, although the San Francisco's focus has been on taking down Moomer and Coolmat early on, perhaps they need to allocate a few more resources to taking down Jake.
Sinatra, Super, they're not available yet for your starting lineup, so give me one player to keep your eye on if you're a Shock fan going into Game 3.
Going into Game 3, I think, again, it's got to be Baby Bay. It might get a little bit repetitive talking about Baby Bay all the time, but as we come up to the control map in particular, he's got to come out with big performances, and I think if he's on the Pharah, if he's on the Soldier 76 or McCree, he's going to be the guy to watch again.
Brent, give me someone that's not on the DPS.
Nevix, for sure. Nevix's general diva play is actually one of the shining lights for Shock. He's had a good performance in the previous 2 maps that we've just seen. I'm looking forward to him to continue now on Control.
All right, Houston, they are increasing their ridiculous win streak that is now 18 maps in a row after losing the first 2 matches of the regular season. They're looking for a big number 19. It's coming up next as we go to Oasis. Be right back. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
An astonishing defense from the Houston Outlaws.
Honestly, this is just a fantastic read from the Shock.
Jake with the kill. There it is.
Oh, Baby Bay on fire.
Elixir pops off right there.
And Dante with his own blade. Now Shock coming in with the kills.
This is unbelievable. Houston turning it around. That is fine work indeed.
Welcome back, guys. Houston Outlaws with a 2-0 lead here over the San Francisco Shock, but we are going into Oasis to see if maybe they can get a bit of a comeback going.
Well, and this is where you're going to like these maps more than the other ones if you are a San Francisco Shock fan, as we see Boink.
He's in.
Going to be coming in. The usual control expert, in case they need that. Lucio, but still mostly playing Mercy.
Lucio extraordinaire. Well, the first 2 maps going the way of the Houston Outlaws. We're going to Oasis next.
And that's where I think, as I was saying previously, it should be good news if you're a Shock fan. Their best maps this season have been Oasis and Dorado, both in terms of the eye test and our admittedly limited pool of information. They are 2-1 on both of these maps so far.
True enough. And it's been impressive for Houston to have the run they have had. They are now at 18 wins in a row, 18 map wins in a row here in Overwatch League. And, you know, we wondered if maybe that would change now that they've got Clockwork in for the ill Linkser today. But Clockwork, while his stats haven't been as good as his counterpart Dante in the first 2 maps, he's been able to hold his own. You know, he's been pulling his weight.
And as Sideshow was saying, he has been getting very good value out of the pulse bombs at the very least. So it's been the big picks that have made the difference in terms of Clockwork's play.
Yeah.
And we are going to be heading into University first, which is not good news for the San Francisco Shock. They haven't cobbled together a very good record on University. A lot of times we see teams going 3-4 tanks here. They've tried to run like Tracer and Junkrat with Winston and D.Va, which has had shaky results, to say the least.
Yep.
But the other 2 points they've been great on, so.
Another chance for Houston to run that Junkrat. Jake has certainly looked ridiculously strong in that hero already today, and Clockwork's going to be pulling out the McCree, it looks like. Pretty exciting stuff. Here we go. Houston and San Francisco on the attack. It's control map time. Time to get things started on University. And we'll see where Clockwork's at. Sneaking around the outside, looking for that Tracer. Finds her.
Nobody went underneath the point, actually. He's going to be popping up out of the middle. That's a surprise, Winston.
Whoa, and Nevix takes a lot of damage here. He's going to get demeched immediately. That did not last long. Jake grabs a kill, and Houston crushes San Francisco in his first attack.
I'm honestly not sure what San Francisco thought was going to happen with that, because you have to assume that there's probably going to be at least the Junkrat, if not the Junkrat and the McCree coming out of Houston. And they tried for a surprise dive with a flank from their D.Va, but it was pretty easy just for Houston to back up right there, crush the tanks, and then cap the point.
Well, especially when you know you're going to be running into a Junkrat. It is a bit shocking. Maybe they weren't expecting the McCree, but either way, they felt it. Now the defense comes in. Nomi falls early. They're going to get Clockwork, though. Jake over the top. Rockets does fall, so Houston losing a couple members already in this fight. San Francisco, a little bit more success with the dive this time. Did I say a little? I meant a lot more success as Dante picks up Muma. Going to get res, but they do force the Valkyrie out of point here.
Yeah, but they're not actually flipping the point, though. That's the problem. So the Valkyrie saving them in some ways. Matt's going to try and use that self-destruct. Will get it, and Clockwork respawns, flashbangs Baby Bay, takes him out. High Noon comes through.
Yeah, punishes for that kill on the cool Matt. And San Francisco still hasn't flipped it. Nomi getting res here. Now they have. All right, so 49% for Houston, but San Francisco does finally have their own control percent building.
Yeah, you're not going to be too upset, though. You got Dak to use his Valkyrie as well. You're still going to be coming back with the Transcendence. Maybe you get a pick off with the Riptire, so drawing it out certainly in the Outlaws' favor. And San Francisco now going to have to look to aggressively play this defense onto the point using that Dragon Blade.
Well, Riptire on the way from Jake. See if he can claim any kills with it.
Underneath the point right now.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, coming up. And D-Mac on an Nevix. All right, D.Va out of the way here. They nearly got it flipped, too. They need to get back on the point. Now Baby Bay coming in with that Genji. No kills out of that one, though. Gonna get the supercharger in the end and be content with that. He's pushed back as he reflects. And now San Francisco Shock, they're trying to push him in the middle here. Outlaws behind the shield, looking pretty good. Clockwork with a headshot onto Dante, and Muma takes down Nomi. They're gonna flip it right back again, and it seemed like a bit of a half-hearted defense from San Francisco. They really didn't seem to get any sort of edges in that fight.
No, they didn't, and they invested quite a bit to not have those edges too. Sleepy didn't get anything out of the Transcendence, and honestly, the Dragon Blade was baited out by the Houston Outlaws effectively. They were standing on the side of the point just waiting for it, and the only thing the Dragon Blade killed was a supercharger.
True enough. And once again, Clockwork holding his own, this time on the McCree.
So the DPS playing pretty far back right now.
I would
take on the high ground.
Oh. And Clockwork finishes that kill into Dante. Meanwhile, Cool Matt chasing people back. Baby Bay with a kill on both supports, though, so San Francisco are in position to flip this one right back again.
Yeah, they are, but they've got to finish off these kills at the tank line first. Coolman's the only one left alive. He will leave, trying to keep his mech intact. He has that self-destruct. They know they're coming back.
Yeah, and they're at 99% too, so I don't think Houston is really that worried right now. San Francisco, though, does have a lot of ultimates to draw off of.
Yeah, and they didn't have to use any ults to take the point either. So
Yeah.
that was honestly a very good dive from San Francisco. Finally, they put it together, wrap all the way around on the flank to get to the support line, use 4 players to kill the supports from Outlaws immediately. So an encouraging sign here from SF.
Yeah, Baby Bay getting in the back lines again. Cool Man ready. Oh, the Dragon Blade coming in. There goes Raucus. Gets him immediately. Doesn't get anything else out of that, but his team is there. The res coming in. Dak gonna go ahead and use the Valkyrie to finish this fight off. And they've got it. Do you think the Valkyrie was necessary there?
I do not think the Valkyrie was necessary, Doa.
I was wondering.
That's another one of those instances where you're kind of worried about the San Francisco Shock's ult economy.
Yep.
Because they're not going to have that for the next fight. Meanwhile, Clockwork's going to be able to use his. He's going to pop it immediately.
Yeah, well, I mean, they still have the Transcendence too from Sleepy, so San Francisco still with some holding power. OT is 99.99, and Jake gets another D-Mech, it looks like. No, maybe not quite. Cool Matt, meanwhile, trying to push San Francisco back. He's going to go ahead and pop that self-destruct. Oh, but taken out by the pulse bomb from Dante. Not going to get remeched anytime soon. He does manage to demech Nevix, though, but Houston needs more. Clockwork needs to get that pulse bomb and needs to come up big in a hurry. Gets the kill on the Baby Bay. They've got the point halfway flip. Can they get the Mercy here? Trying to chase down Dak a little bit. Nobi jumps in, but he's got no health. Gets the health pack, though.
Yeah.
He'll be okay. Oh, but Jake gets a kill on the Dak, and that's going to be the flip again. Oh, they've nearly got it. San Francisco still holding. Oh, but there it is. It's over. And that is going to be the first round taken by Houston. Man, what a heartbreaker for San Francisco.
That was another fight where you have to say that was really winnable by the San Francisco Shock, but they overcommit again. And
Well-
these little edges that they're giving up are causing the Houston Outlaws to be able to counterpunch them effectively.
One wonders what would they would have been able to do with that Valkyrie if Dak hadn't used it in that fight before.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Doa. It's been a rough time for the Shock here when it comes to making sure that they use the appropriate amount of ultimates and in the appropriate sequence tonight.
So we're going to have a bit of a switch up from San Francisco. Dak going to be on the Lucio this time. Sleepy over on the Mercy. He will be supporting Baby Bay on that Pharah. And Muma on the Roadhog. Okay.
Interesting that they're going with this tactic with the Roadhog, looking for the picks, but see if he can catch a
Whoa, Jake, no way. 2 knocked off the map. He got Dak and Nomi.
So they jumped onto the high ground, and Jake
I
was
guess.
already in position on
Wow.
the point to use that concussive blast, and that is.
Well, let's see that one.
Yep.
All right. All right.
He's gonna
shots.
He's gonna flick left and see this.
Oh,
Guy sees the Winston,
man.
had just used the leap. There's no way you're coming back from that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Gets taken out by Baby Bay, but the percent already rolling for Houston Outlaws. Maybe San Francisco can flip this one back in a hurry. They're certainly trying. Clockwork on the outside. He's nearly got Dante dead to rights. Cool Man D-Mac.
Gets him.
There's a kill on the Dante. Yep, gets got though by Nevix. There's a hook on the Nevix. Muma, can he get the D-Mac? Looks like he can, but he's on the run. Takes a breather, running for that big health pack. He's gonna get it. And now the turnaround, but he's got a lot of members of Shock to deal with, and he can't. And so, the San Francisco Shock, they've been getting the kills, but they still haven't come close to flipping the point yet.
No, they haven't had the boots on the ground to actually switch hands on the point.
Well, they chased Muma with it like everybody.
Yeah, they did, and that meant that there was nobody there. Meanwhile, Jake Respawn gets back to the point and wins the duel against Baby Bay, but that doesn't actually help you change the hands of the control.
Both Mercies down. A shot from Nomi comes in. That's a kill onto Jake here, and so San Francisco does manage to grind this one out. And it looks like, yep, at 57% for Houston Outlaws. San Francisco finally gets their percent building.
And they'll be feeling fine considering the 2 support ults they have to help defend this point right now.
Sure. They've got some staying power, certainly. With the sound barrier and the Valkyrie. Nice shot from Baby Bay there, but you need to hit 2 in a row to take down that Pharah, at least.
That's right. Not going to do any lasting damage as the Mercy's still there. But you can try and play around
Ooh.
this.
Oh,
Oh, that's good, Baby Bay.
Clever shot onto the turret in the middle there to get the splash damage onto Jake. Reds comes in from point right away. Jake goes ahead and tries to use the ultimate. Doesn't really get much. Well, he does get Dak. I retract that statement. Uma brought back up again, but now Jake going down one more time. San Francisco managing to stay in control of this one for now.
And now they started to really gain dominance on this point, though. San Francisco has looked good on Gardens and City Center on Oasis, much better than their university play, and they are showing it now. Outside of that early mistake where they got double environmental killed,
right,
and had to come back onto the point, they've looked pretty good. And they've managed to save Dak's sound barrier.
Well, Dak died so early in that last fight, he didn't even get a chance to use it, and that actually turned out good for them.
It turned out to be certainly acceptable.
True enough. There's a sound barrier now, using it as Houston comes in again. Muma falls nearly immediately here. See if they get more. Yep, there's another kill onto Coolmat's mech there. Sleepy does go down, and Dak just bouncing around, trying to zone Houston out of the point. Ooh, gets aggressive here, helps kill off Clockwork, and looks like another hold for San Francisco, and they are nearing 90%.
Yeah, it's just Jake and Boink on the point right now, but it's hard for the members of the San Francisco Shock to deal with the aerial threat from the Mercy and the Pharah.
Now Muma back on the point now, and now they need to worry about it getting taken. Jake goes ahead and drops that barrage from way up there. Nomi's gonna chase him away.
Nobody's on the point!
No, that's just San Francisco tying it up on Oasis. No one from the Outlaws could actually get there.
Well, Mercy could have dropped down. Now we can argue, should you have stalled, but the rest of the members were right there on the outside of the point, so that was definitely contestable from the side of the Outlaws, but...
I mean, if you're gonna lose the point, you might as well go for it, right?
Yeah, and everybody was respawning, so the Outlaws certainly had a chance to take that back, but communication wasn't there to make sure somebody got on the point in time to trigger the OT.
Yep. All right, so we're going to round number 3 here. City Center will be the final battleground here on Oasis to see if Houston Outlaws can keep that map win streak alive. San Francisco Shock wants to say no.
And we've seen the Shock with Baby Bay on the McCree play City Center before effectively, so they should be comfortable against what's coming. It will be the Roadhog Diva combination, so a lot about that burst damage onto the front lines.
Oh, Baby Bay just getting hammered by those rockets from Jake. Finally, Nevix comes up to block a little bit of that. But Dak has to use a res early on to Sleepy. A little bit of an early advantage for Houston in this fight. Ooh, that was close, man. He got behind the wall and disconnected the hook just in time.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Baby Bay
Boink.
to get in range of
anybody. Oh, it's close. One more. Oh, man. Coolmat comes in and saves his Mercy.
But that's what you can't do if you're a McCree in this situation.
Yep.
If you see that they're playing Roadhog Diva as their 2 tanks, you can't be caught alone on the side. You can't go for the long flanks, because what happens in that circumstance is the tanks can reposition very quickly or just hook you and kill you right off the bat.
It's, you know, it's hard not to blame him. I mean, when you have that chance to take out the Mercy, when it's just like 20 health left, you tunnel, you know, and you can't blame him, but it does end up being part of what cost San Francisco Shock the point early. And once again, for the 3rd round in a row, Houston will get the control percent going quickly.
Yes, they will. And we're not going to see Baby Bay switch off either, which I think is a bit of a surprise. I like the tactics the Houston Outlaws are bringing into this. I think it is going to be effective against this McCree because it forces the McCree to play behind cover and play with the rest of his team rather than trying to get some big pickoffs on their own.
Well, it's high noon, but Baby Bay not finding any targets. Oh, I spoke too soon. He got Muma. In the end, the res comes in from Boink. They're going to pop that Valkyrie right away. Jake taken out by Baby Bay. Starting to come alive on this McCree now. And as soon as I say the words alive, he dies. Of course, that's how it is. It's the caster curse. But San Francisco coming back with some reses of their own. They're not out of this fight quite yet. They need to finally start getting some kills on their side if they want to flip this one.
They're just going to push everybody off with the whole hog. And they still keep this going somehow.
Yeah, Nomi drops that shield just in time to deny the hook from Muma. Gets killed by Clockwork anyway. Baby Bay, oh, there's the kill on Muma. That Roadhog not surviving. And now it's on Jake to try to push back the members of San Francisco Shock. Has to dodge himself. Boink brings Muma back again, and that's definitely a body you want on the point. It's a lot of help. It's hard to get rid of that Roadhog.
And this should be San Francisco starting to push forward. Nomi's back right now. They have a big advantage. Jake just trying to get a couple of kills here. See if he can ball off. He's going to get one support.
Wow, didn't even use the barrage. Got taken out. He did kill Sleepy, though, so that's something. But San Francisco does flip the point.
Yeah, don't need to use the barrage there. He knew he was going to lose. He knew the point was going to be flipped. So save what you can for the next engagement. Shock, again, coming up with a lot of ultimates to help themselves hold on to this point. Didn't commit much of anything. to flip it in the first place, and they've got to show us better discipline than they have previously.
Well, they've got a great chance to hand Houston their first map loss in 4 or 5 matches now.
This will be the 5th match that they still have not lost a map in.
That's right, they're currently 18 in a row for map wins. Oh, Justice does not reign anywhere. Baby Bay is the law in this town.
That was certainly an optimistic barrage.
Yep. I mean, that's what we see from Jake, though. Really accurate with the rockets themselves. Barrages, not usually so great.
I think he just wanted to switch off the hero, honestly. So he is going to change over to the soldier instantly after dying.
I mean, you can say that, but I feel like we've seen a lot of barrages. Like the last one on Gardens, way up in the air. I don't know what he was looking for there, but, you know. But he's great at hitting those regular rockets, so definitely one of the most accurate pharaohs we have out there.
So let's see here if they can push back in now. Some time to build up the tactical visor. Or Jake.
Oh, that's going to be the Deadeye used. Baby Bay looking for those targets, trying to find the Mercy. Finds Cool Matt's mech. Going to be happy with that one. Use Primal Rage. There we go. San Francisco winning this fight so far, but now the res is coming in. Kills nullified.
Dax still has the Valkyrie, though, so San Francisco Shock.
Yep.
They're holding strong right now. They're not throwing away any of their ultimates.
Houston's using all of theirs. Oh, Kumat denied with that flashbang. Baby Bay putting this team on his back and carrying them right now. Finally, Dak does pop that Valkyrie. All the ults used except for this Deadeye here.
Wait for an opportunity to use that. Flashbang immediately onto Muma as he comes in. Jake trying to hold it together here, dodging and weaving, but
not
going
to
to
work
stay
out.
alive.
And, ooh, they're trying to keep it going, but we're into overtime right now. San Francisco on the verge of winning Oasis here, and as Clockwork falls, can they get anybody back in time? They're going to try to get Kumat there, but he's not going to do it. And San Francisco will take Oasis. The win streak on maps for the Houston Outlaws has ended at 18.
And that was a great block by Nomi on the mech coming in from Cool Matt to make sure that there wasn't going to be a contest. And as we said coming in, Oasis and Dorado are good maps for the Shock. They stumbled a bit on University, but better ult management won them the day there on City Center.
Very true. So a little bit of life from San Francisco as they win a map. And we're going to see a chance for them to tie up this series on map number 4. But it was a nice start for Houston Outlaws. That boot was certainly pretty good, but from there it was pretty much all San Francisco. We'll see if they can keep that momentum going as we come back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Overwatch League represents a different direction than esports have taken in the past. A global community of professionals for a truly global league.
Well, guys, it has gotten exciting. San Francisco winning Oasis and putting themselves in a position to tie up this series. And you were saying, Monty, these are their maps, and they're certainly showing that so far.
Yeah, I was encouraged for San Francisco, not only when Linkser wasn't playing, but also when we saw the map pool, which is definitely not the greatest of Outlaws maps, and certainly the best for the Shock. So
Bonnie in for Boink. Surprising, not too many. They do prefer to use Boink for those control maps and then bring Bonnie right back in there. And we are going to go to Dorado for potentially our final map of the day if Houston Outlaws wins it. If not, we will go to that tiebreaker on Lijiang Tower. And with a couple of, with a 4-0 and then a 1-3, you know, maybe it's time to have that tiebreaker today.
yeah, it might be, especially because tactically, when we look at how the Outlaws like to play Dorado, they rely heavily on Widowmaker on both attack and defense. And Clockwork's been hitting some headshots, to be fair, on Anubis, but he wasn't staying for a long time on the Widowmaker, and Linkser has been their biggest playmaker on this map in particular. So we'll see if they adapt their strategy at all or whether Clockwork can deliver.
I mean, I think Clockwork has had a pretty solid performance here today so far, but, you know, it's hard to be Linkser. Linkser is in a league of his own right now. And
absolutely.
Certainly Houston hurting a little bit with him on the bench today.
Yeah, Linkser unquestionably one of the top Widowmakers that we have in Overwatch League. And
feel better, Linkser.
You know, if I'm San Francisco, I'm feeling good on Dorado, and if I'm Baby Bay, I'm going to try and take the Widow duel against Clockwork. I'm going to think these guys are going to roll with that same strategy, but they're going to try it with Clockwork. I'm much more confident in my Widowmaker abilities if I'm Baby Bay. And so why not go for it? And we do see him on the Widowmaker right now. Dante on the Junkrat. In the past, the Shock have liked to play McCree Junkrat, but that's mostly against dive compositions. And the Outlaws don't play dive very much. So I understand going for the Widowmaker here instead. You're not going to have that threat or pressure necessarily on the back line.
True enough. Here we go. Houston Outlaws on the attack first. We'll see if they can overcome the lack of one of their best DPS and put a win in on here on Dorado. Wow, English is hard, guys. Clockwork looking for an early shot, doesn't find it. He is going to keep searching.
It's a little bit interesting that they're playing Orisa on attack.
I was going to say,
That limits the positioning you can have on your Widowmaker because you have to play behind that barrier instead of Winston opening up space for you. So
Clockwork wins the duel against Baby Bay to start things off.
Well, that's
right.
That's going to trigger the resurrection immediately, but that ability now down for the San Francisco Shock, and they're not stopping this payload at all. It's just Orisa standing on top of it.
Not yet. They got to watch out for Jake here, too. A lot of damage from him. Cautiously rising up above the market. Just firing into that doorway, pushing them back, and Clockwork kills Baby Bay again. Another headshot. That's 2-0 for Clockwork. Here on Dorado so far.
I guess if you don't have Linkser, Clockwork can fill in on that Widow on this map.
Hey man, he had to step up today, and he has certainly been doing that. Kill on Nomi will finish off point A. Yeah, why not add Dak to that as well? And I think Clockwork's going to be feeling pretty good coming into point B here.
I'm going to try and post forward two. You want another round on a Baby? Well, that's maybe a little bit greedy for that one. But
Dante was ready for him there.
Not the biggest deal, though. As both Widows fall, it's still the payload moving. So not a price to pay here for the side of the Houston Outlaws, as really San Francisco Shock haven't even figured out how to slow this payload down yet.
Yep. Jake trying to find Dante in the courthouse here. You're familiar with those recently. Barrage comes in for Jake, but again, not finding anybody. Yeah, Judge Monty. Scary stuff. Whoa, not as scary as Dante's Riptire, though. Monty and Jake going down, and that's going to be the push stuff for the Houston Outlaws.
You know, a lot of fans who have been watching Watchpoint, though, will think that I've gotten in trouble with the law or something.
That is true. Context, yeah.
Context is very important.
He's familiar because of his sketch of Watchpoint preview, guys, not because Monty is in trouble with the law.
Well, not for that reason.
No, yeah. Dante is a law-abiding citizen who, you know, would never go wrong.
That's right.
That's right. He's a role model to children everywhere.
I am not that, but
okay. An okay guy. Oh, Raucus! There's the kill from Baby Bay. San Francisco starting to strike back, forcing Bonnie to use that Valkyrie maybe a little bit earlier than he would have preferred. That's Baby Bay's time here. Oh, really takes on Clockwork. Cool Matt down. That payload has stopped. Supercharger taken out by Nevix's self-destruct here too.
Baby Bay winning another duel against Clockwork, so finally finding some footing there. Jake has switched over to the Genji just to try and put some pressure on the high ground, but he's not going to have that opportunity.
I think it may be time to swap up the Orisa here. I think if you're Houston Outlaws, you might want to consider bringing in the Winston at this point.
It is very strange to see Orisa on point B attack because you're not really ever in control of the top side of the map if you're Orisa. You're never going to walk up there. You're basically just on payload duty. Muma's just been standing on this payload the entire time.
Doing his best Bastion impression. And it's working so far. Baby Bay tries to find a kill on the Raucus. Should have this one. Yep, he does. I mean, not a lot of place for Raucus to hide here, and San Francisco cleans up the rest of that one. Payload is stopped.
It's not going to work anymore, Doa. That's the thing. You have to now make it back to the payload, and you have a long, long way to walk. So there's the Winston swap finally coming through for Muma.
Well, they needed to do it. And Clockwork on the 76 immediately picked off by Baby Bay, who's immediately rezzed by Bonnie.
Naturally.
And now the high ground push from Houston. We'll see if they can get up there on top of the courthouse. No, not quite yet. Trying to take advantage of Nomi here, but he seems fairly well protected. They got the line of sight on him with that Orb of Harmony. He'll be okay.
Going to be used. Everybody right in front of the courthouse now from the Houston Outlaws.
Yep.
But Nevix is standing on top of the payload, so they can't actually contest it. Baby Bay repositioning, get the best angle onto the payload itself. He's going to find Clockwork again.
Nice shot on Clockwork. And who's going to deal with this Baby Bay Widowmaker over on the other side? I mean, he can just vault right back over there as soon as any pressure comes in. They got to do something about this. Clockwork swapping to the Tracer now, so Houston's starting to look a little bit lost here on point B.
Yeah, they are. They haven't been successful in making the Shock use any ultimates up until this point. Finally, the Dragon Blade will make sure Sleepy uses that Transcendence.
Yeah, Uma goes down, brought back up again. Nice reflect on the Baby Bay now. Jake's got it. Dak taken out with the self-destruct, and Houston Outlaws in a great position to finish point B here.
They gotta take out Nomi, they're gonna find him, and now it's all about moving forward.
Gotta handle those respawns.
Yeah, Dak didn't have the chance to use his own Valkyrie to resurrect some of those members of his team, so they will fight for this, I imagine. San Francisco Shock gonna want to come out right away. Dak will use his ult to engage.
Yep, they got a good chance here. Transcendence coming in from Raucus. Jake goes down, Baby Bay with a crucial kill. There goes Clockwork. Both DPS out of the way. San Francisco in great shape as they take down Bonnie as well. And the gamble, Dak's use of the Valkyrie may have paid off. Goodbye, Cool Matt. That's going to be a stall, 2.29 meters away from the end of point B.
And only 35 seconds for the Outlaws to regroup right now.
That's big.
Maybe they can stall it out with Muma on that Primal Rage. They're waiting for Cool Matt to respawn. They will have an opportunity to get everybody there. So you can see Muma push forward behind the courthouse right now. They're going to take the back route onto the high ground, wrap around the side, and jump onto the payload.
You've got to push hard here. Houston Outlaws, this is their last chance to keep this attack run going. Dante sneaking in from behind, Cool Matt on top of him, trying to protect those DPS. Dante not giving up just yet, though. Gets it onto Bonnie, has to recall out of there. Now there's a self-destruct. So Cool Matt just trying to clear people away from that point to try to get the payload there. What can Dante do with that pulse bomb? Ooh, Clockwork and Jake already down, so San Francisco in great shape. There come the reses here. Can Bonnie stay alive through this Valkyrie? Looks like he can. Jake getting in the back line, chasing down Baby Bay. Turns around for some shots. Baby Bay cut down. And Houston Outlaws will take point B at the last possible second.
Wow, Booma started that fight so well. He used the Primal Rage instantly upon hitting the card to double bounce back, double jump back onto Dak and Sleepy, pushing Dak out of that engagement. Because Banny was there, he was able to charge his Valkyrie up as the healer on the actual point itself.
Yeah.
And that Valkyrie then turns the tide of the fight. So Booma has been doing great work today on this Winston.
Sure has.
Just controlling the flow of healing from the shock into these fights.
Oh, they're going in. Dak falls early. Great dive onto that Mercy. San Francisco responds with a kill onto Banny anyway. And it's hard to tell who's going to come out on top of this one, but it looks like Houston Outlaws, on the run. As I said that, the kills came in.
Yeah, shock with a stronghold. A lot was used just to make it this far for the Outlaws. They're back to a single push remaining.
20 seconds for Houston Outlaws. 3, maybe 4 ults to work with if Jake can get that Dragon Blade up pretty quickly.
Yeah, we need to see how Muma's going to use this Primal Rage. He has been excellent with this ability thus far.
You talk about Clockwork stepping up. Here's where you got to do it. You got to have that big pulse spot. Muma with the Primal Rage right away, going after Dak right now. Transcendence going to prevent him from getting any kills, but he is zoning. The support's out right now. Nomi falls. Clockwork gets that crucial kill, and there goes Dante. We're into OT, but maybe Houston can push it.
There's never any healers when Muma has Primal Rage because he's pushing both of them back and he forced the Transcendence out. Muma is just going crazy tonight.
Well, they're not done with the map quite yet. Oh, Muma going down. One of the underworld at this point. Manny taken out, and Nomi strikes back with his own Primal Rage. Kumat desperately trying to keep his team in it, but I think that is it. OT ticking, and San Francisco will hold Houston at just 2 points. They push it most of the way, but the Outlaws couldn't complete it.
But that's 2 Primal Rages that bought Houston nearly an entire point. Without Muma there, zoning both of the enemy supports, they wouldn't have taken point B, and they wouldn't have gotten some more headway on point C. And one of the stats I wanted to talk about earlier with Muma is if we disregard the first week of Overwatch League when they were struggling, and again, it is cherry picking because they did win all of their subsequent maps in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But even so, Muma's individual play, particularly his Primal Rage play, has been superb. He is #1 in the league in Primal Rage kills per 10 minutes and #1 in the league in Primal Rage kills per Primal Rage.
Wow.
So he has been doing an immense amount of work, and his positioning, you really see why. We saw it in that last fight. The Primal Rage forcing support ultimates out, making sure that the supports are completely cut off. And that means the Houston Outlaws are always fighting with better healing, and they're able to focus down targets quickly around the payload and those objectives. So Outlaws really doing a lot with that tank line. May not be flashy when you get those tank kills, but controlling space like that has been one of their strong suits with Cool Matt, and especially with Muma.
Absolutely.
In 30 seconds.
Well, now they've got to defend, and they didn't finish the attack round, but they did get the payload most of the way there. So still plenty of room for the Outlaws to come out with a win here on Dorado. And Clockwork certainly showing his value both on the Tracer and on the Widowmaker early on. So even without that Linkser, definitely a threat to be reckoned with, and we'll see if Jake can get that cheesy kill early on with Junkrat. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Maybe they may actually be going on the Zarya here.
Interesting. So
that is
triple tank this.
That is quite different than what we normally see.
Maybe if they were expecting the Widowmaker on the defense, they thought...
well, they should be. That's usually what we see from the Outlaws. But also, maybe they normally plays the Widow on attack here while Dante plays the Genji. So, a new look here. I'm not sure how effective this is going to be because they're still trying to play around this Orisa barrier.
We'll see how easily they can get through it. I think the dive is just going to be the key. Put the shield on Nomi as he goes in, maybe. We'll find out. Maybe Bay around the outside right now, focusing on Bonnie here. Getting zoned out, getting taken down by Cool Matt. That's a start. And Nomi getting creamed as well. So as San Francisco falls here. I wonder if we're going to see any changes. Baby Bay not swapping out that Zarya just yet.
I mean, the problem that they've now gotten themselves into is that they should want to play dive because everybody on the Outlaws is stacking up behind Muma's shield. But the problem is that Dante now is most of the way to the Dragon Blade, and you don't want to reverse the heroes, have Baby Bay play the Tracer and Dante play the Genji if you can avoid it. So I think they're going to wait until Dragon Blade is up, which will now be delayed.
That's right. Teaching his pupil a lesson as Zenyatta takes out Genji.
Is that gonna come right away with the Valkyrie, actually?
Yeah, I guess coming right back in. Dak gonna use that one early. San Francisco wanting to get through point A in a hurry. We'll see if they can do it. Dragon Blade coming in now. Dante looking for kills. Dante taken out by the Riptire here, but they have managed to grind this payload forward. Maybe Houston can keep this going. Keep the defense solid here.
Yeah, Baby Bay with a lot of charge now. Finally working his way up. Will be able to deal some serious damage. Oh, no, he's taken out.
And Houston will hold. And now if you're San Francisco, you know, maybe now you think about swapping. Baby Bay is getting close to that Graviton Surge, but what are you going to pair it with?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe you can use the Primal Rage with it, try and get some damage down with the Monkey. Nevix horribly delayed now, horribly staggered.
That's really rough. He still doesn't have his Diva suit back again.
Yeah, Jake gonna go ahead and take the high ground. If I'm Jake, I'm looking at this and saying, wow, there's no Genji, there's no Pharah. I can stand up here and spam grenades all day.
Yeah, who's gonna stop you? Maybe the Winston jumps up, but that's easy to deal with.
Yeah, Nevix also. Just get damage boosted from the high ground. Maybe you get one of those lucky picks. He's gonna pull out the Riptire.
Yep. Trying to end this push really before it gets going again. Tire across the roof here. Ooh, taking a lot of damage. Gets taken out. Nevix kills the Tire just in time. That was close.
It could have been disastrous if he had been demech'd.
Yeah, here comes the dive now. Nomi popping that Primal Rage as San Francisco tries to push forward here. Getting low, getting very, very low actually. Wow, I can't believe Nomi's still alive actually. Kills for San Francisco. Clockwork back up again. Rockus can use his Transcendence as well. Jake brought back up, so now the Valkyrie in play. And here comes Attack Visor getting zoned by Nevix, so gets the D-Mech. Clockwork not done quite yet, needs that biotic field. Yeah, he gets it just in time, and with the heals, he'll run back in. Firing in on the Nomi there, they're getting kills, but ooh, did they get there? Less than a meter! For San Francisco, they've nearly got point A, and if they get stopped here, it would be devastating.
Yeah, the tanks are still alive, though, and they're still holed up behind Muma's barrier. Everybody just playing deep behind the Orisa shield, and that is absorbing most of the damage from San Francisco.
No kidding, 20 seconds down to 15 seconds. If Shock loses here, they lose the match. And it looks like that is exactly what's going to happen, because at less than 10 seconds, Baby Bay finally falls, and it is desperation. As a Houston Outlaws trying to keep them from getting onto it. Nomi can't even get there, blown out of the sky, and Houston will take the map and the series 3-1.
That is a huge win for Houston, given their circumstances. They keep their playoff hopes alive here in stage 1. Hopefully we'll see the return of Linkser when they play Seoul Dynasty later this week, because if they can get an upset over Seoul because of their massive map differential, because they won those 18 maps in a row and are now, what, 19 out of their last 20.
Yeah, 19-1 in their last 20 maps.
They set themselves up to be in a fantastic position for any match tiebreakers that might occur. They need one good upset and then to beat the teams they are expected to beat, and we may see them in the stage 1 playoffs.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Houston continues to impress, and again, you got to give a lot of credit to Clockwork too, you know, coming in for the sick members, the indisposed members on his team, and really showing up on pretty much everything he picked.
Yeah, fantastic work.
That's right. Rough one for San Francisco. You know, they did show some life towards the end, but the issues still abound a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the issues are coming from some weak ultimate control. They showed it off better. They definitely looked stronger in that regard when they play on Oasis and they play on control.
Yeah, so as we look forward here, it really will be interesting to see how things shake out between the Valiant and Houston as we start looking ahead towards playoffs. I think we're in for a pretty tight race as we get to the last couple weeks of the stage here.
We definitely are, and since we saw some important upsets last week, it's certainly within the realm of the possibility that we're not going to have the same 3 teams leading the standings now as we will later in this stage.
That's right. So now let's send it down to Zoe for an interview with the one and only Cool Matt.
Thank you so much, guys. That Cool Matt joining me from the Houston Outlaws. Congratulations. Yet another win in the books. However, your map streak did end tonight at 18 wins in a row. Now your next opponent is going to be the Seoul Dynasty. Do you think you can pick it back up and start a new streak against those guys?
The good thing about Seoul is that it's the maps that we're really comfortable on. Like, we knew the map streak was going to end eventually. We were hoping it would end with Seoul, if anyone. But, I mean, the maps we're playing against Seoul, it's like, those are the perfect maps for us. So I think that we can take that set.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that. Now, looking at the game, we just saw Clockwork got subbed in for Linkster. It was kind of a last-minute change. Did that force you guys to maybe, I don't know, adapt your play style or any strategies?
We had to adjust some comps a little bit because Linkster is like super comfortable on Widow and Clockwork doesn't have that much practice on Widow, but Clockwork has been playing with us in scrims as well, so he's very aware of the strats. So we really didn't change up our strats too much. General game plans, positioning stuff was the same, just played a little bit less Widow.
Right. Well, it was a great performance by you and your team. Thank you so much for joining me down here on the floor. We're now going to break down that game on our analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Zoe, and big shout out to Cool Matt. I wish my hair would look as good as his does right now. Guys, let's break down the action. We're back on the desk for the final segment. I'm Puckett alongside Bren in Sideshow. And we've seen some really good games today. Game number 3, though, is where we started to see some excitement injected in this series. You mentioned it in the first half. Yes, it's Houston walking away with the first 2 wins, but those games were pretty close. Game number 3, this is when the shock ends up on the scoreboard. And let's take a look at some of the highlights as we take a look back at Oasis. It started off with Jake back on the Junkrat. And from there, it seemed that the shock were still trying to figure out how do you work against that.
Yeah, they definitely were. They were running dive composition, the Tracer Genji into it, and they couldn't get enough pressure onto Jake, who's playing very individually, and the Orisa Hog. And then when they go onto this stage, it kind of flips around because Houston move away from that and over the course of the rest of the map go towards Pharah v Pharah or Pharah against double hit scan. And honestly, it hasn't looked like a strength for them. I'm a little bit wondering why Houston rolled out with the Pharah Tracer compositions, because even previously when they were playing against Dallas, they found their strengths playing dive, playing Jake more on the Genji role rather than the Pharah. This seems to be a step backwards, if anything, for them.
Is Control a concern for you now after seeing them tonight? I know it was Clockwork's first time back in the mix in quite a while.
So I think a big part of that was, I mean, Kumat made mention in the interview, right? They're a little bit uncomfortable in terms of the compositions they were running. I think that definitely showed in Oasis. Mumo was on the Roadhog. They were running the Diva Roadhog. He's played it before, but he didn't have as fantastic of as a appearance as he has had on the Winston and whatnot in the past. So you could definitely tell he was a bit unsure on that one role. A lot of those factors do come into the fact that they were pretty much just rolled over, I guess, on Oasis. But also it is Shock's preferable Control map, right? The Control game mode is one that they are strong on. So you got to take that into account as well. But I think with Linkster back into the mix, they shouldn't be worrying too much.
I do want to give Dax some big props on that final stage. He had a clutch res, using the Valkyrie really well, keeping his tank and getting his McCree back into action. So Shock's on the board. We have a series on our hand. We go into game number 4, and Shock stops Houston short of the final point. Things are starting to look up. Yes, you get rolled on point A, half of point B, but point C, they were able to lock things down. Clockwork goes to that Widow, as Cool Matt mentioned. Not his best, but was able to do some early work. Later in the game, I felt like this is where Baby Bay and Dante started to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a great defense, actually, for the second portion of the map, and they set up a good win condition for themselves. Because Dorado is a map that you can normally get it around the final bend. Maybe you can't complete the map, but it was very doable for San Francisco Shock, I think. But you got to never underestimate the power of San Francisco Shock to lose a game, I think. And in this one, I think Brent as well, we had some question marks about the Zarya coming.
You're going to throw shade at me.
Hold on.
I think Brent as well. I think Brent as well.
Hold on. This was the quote. Never underestimate San Francisco Shock's ability to throw a game. Why do you
lose a game? I said lose. Okay. You said throw.
Well, before we were live, you said they're throwing it. So explain, when you saw the comp, you guys thought this was going to go wrong for San Francisco Shock. Why was it such a mistake to pull out a Zarya?
Right. So it was the first time we've seen Zarya in Dorado in general, right? that statistic straight out the board, and there's a reason for that, because it's such a difficult map to get value out of Zarya completely, and I can understand the thought process behind it, right? You're going to be running it into Jake's Junkrat, you're going to be building up ult charge pretty quickly because you're going to be getting constant charge. However, it wasn't applied in that way at all, and Babybay, he was stuck to the Zarya. He tried to get his ultimate charges. They had about 3 failed team fights in a row, which meant Babybay had only just got his Graviton Surge. He didn't want to switch off the Zarya because, he, you know, once you've got the Graviton, you want to use it. But at this point, they had already shaved off like 1.5 minutes of game time, and it was far too late for them to switch, and it just all came tumbling down.
All right, so unfortunately, it didn't work on the attack. Zarya was a no-go, and here's a look, though, at our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, and it's none other than the Houston Outlaws, Muma, back with our player of the match, and it all started back on Numbani, slapping the supports with the Primal Rage, and he kept going not only on the Winston, we saw him on the Orisa, you saw him struggle a little bit on the Hog, but overall, this guy was very consistent in a day where his team needed him most.
He absolutely is. And this guy is absolutely fantastic, even from a statistical point of view. He has some of the fewest deaths on Winston throughout the entirety of the league and the most Primal Rage kills. So he's getting big value out of it. And look at this. This was ridiculous. He spent so much time here, not even on the floor. He was just hovering around, attached to the payload, easily got gold medals for objective time. And that whole push through the beginning of Dorado facilitated by Zarya.
1 minute and 33 seconds on the payload without touching the ground. If you are at home and if you want to be the player of the match tonight, make sure you stay on that payload. Congratulations to Muma and the Houston Outlaws. Let's take a look at our whole day's standings and see how the things broke down. It all started off with the Valiant going up against the Fusion. It was the battle of the 4 and 2 teams. Valiant came out swinging. 4 straight maps keeps them in the running for the Stage 1 playoffs. A little bit later, it was the Gladiators up and over the Florida Mayhem, who did take Junkertown, so another big map win for Mayhem. They are still looking for their second match win, and as you just witnessed, finally, the Outlaw streak has come to an end at 18 map wins in a row, but they still get the match victory, and that's going to be good enough to throw them into 4th place just above the Valiant.
Yeah, and those two teams, both of them looking to break into this top 3, which are, you know, the top 3 are going to be going into those Stage 1 playoffs. So if any of these teams can upset Seoul, New York, or London, it's going to be Outlaws or Valiant for me. So those games are all going to be so crucial.
These maps are so important as well, and look at tomorrow's schedule because things are going to get a little bit crazy. It opens up with the Dallas Fuel, some fan favorites going up against the 4 and 3 Philadelphia Fusion, but then we'll get a chance to see New York warming up against the Shanghai Dragons, who are still looking for their first match win before the big one of the night. London Spitfire and Seoul Dynasty, one of our 2 top 3 squads, is going to walk home with their second match loss. The other one will take over the top of the leaderboard with their 6th match victory. It's been an awesome day, and the action kicks off tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for joining us once again on the Overwatch League. We'll see you on Thursday.